Okay, Trillionaires, so here we are in our part 2 of astronaut videos. This is Astronaut Weeks. How fun is that? I hope you've been posting lots of stuff to the blog on your commentaries. We want to hear from you. Very, very cool. And we're going to talk today about some of the training. I mean, I realized that the training was ridiculous, but in particular, we're going to touch on underwater survival training, and then forest survival training. So let's just talk about those two.
Yeah,
so starting with the underwater. Why? I mean, it's not like there's a lot of water in space. Okay. So why do you have to go do underwater? I don't get it. Right?
Well, when you basically in regards to like Earth re-entry, okay, you've undocked the International Space Station, and you come back to Earth. Normally, it takes about 3 to 4 hours to come back to Earth.
From the space station.
Yeah.
Okay.
It takes about 2.5 days to get there, but 3 to 4 hours to come back.
Now, why? Because of gravitational pull, or?
Well.
Yeah, he's about to say, okay, we're about to go on a major roll.
That's a whole post just there.
Okay, maybe that's irrelevant. Okay, whatever. We're talking about survival training. So it's re-entry.
In case we're off course for whatever reason, okay? If we have to do a ballistic re-entry, which basically, a ballistic re-entry is a steep descent back to Earth. And we're shot off course, and instead of landing, basically with parachuting back on land, and what if we actually land in the ocean? And let's say we're 3 or 4 or 5 days away from rescue, and they can't find us. Then we need to know how to survive in the ocean.
And so, now when you say ballistic, I'm really curious, and I know there's a lot of people who are curious too. How fast is that?
A ballistic re-entry is about 10 Gs. You're probably doing about 19,000 miles an hour.
19,000 miles an hour. Yeah. Wow, I'm thinking 200 miles an hour. Okay, sorry.
25,000 miles an hour. It's just, yeah, you're coming in pretty hot.
Now, I mean, what's that thing do? Does it just like go charging into the ocean? Or I mean, I don't get it.
The exterior of the spacecraft is probably like 2,000 or 3,000 degrees. I mean, there are flames shooting off it. I mean, you're coming in pretty hard.
Right. So, and does it go straight into the ocean?
Through the veneer of the Earth's atmosphere. And then at a certain spot, I mean, it's all planned out. But what I'm saying is, if for whatever reason you need to come in with a ballistic re-entry, which means you're coming in about anywhere between 8 and 10 Gs. I mean, the G loads alone on your body, I mean, it's excruciating. You can hardly breathe. And we do a lot of training in regards to like how to combat that particular problem.
Right. While the rest of us are at the club.
Yeah. Personally,
dancing
I think the ballistic re-entry is very, very cool.
I mean, you would.
A normal re-entry is about 4 Gs, which is kind of like, oh yeah.
Now, how fast is that? 4 Gs.
Well,
I mean, I don't know anything about this stuff. I mean, I'm just trying to find out. So
have you been on a roller coaster?
Yeah.
Okay. Imagine like taking the most wildest turn.
Right.
Okay. And let's say you're sort of diving down at the exact same time.
Right.
I mean, you're going to cop certain Gs. You're sort of filling your stomach.
Right. Yeah. Sure.
But 8 to 10 Gs is, I mean, the forces alone, you can hardly breathe.
Right. Because the pressure on you is so tremendous.
You can't comprehend it. And I mean, there are certain trainings in a centrifuge which allow you to like, work on your breathing skills. Because effectively it's just, breathing from your esophagus. But the thing is, probably the close similarity is, imagine a boa constrictor is constricting itself around you. And every time you take a breath, squeezing tighter. And then all of a sudden you can't breathe anymore.
There's nothing left.
You can't expand your chest.
Right. That's what it's like.
How do you breathe? Exactly. So you've got to learn a specific breathing technique which allows you to survive that particular ordeal if you're coming in hot on a ballistic re-entry.
Right. Okay. So
we do sea training.
Boom! Now you're in the water. Right? You're in the ocean in the middle of nowhere. Nobody knows where you are.
Now we need to survive.
Right.
So the first thing you do is, we've got our spacesuits on, and in Russian we call these scaphandras, and mind you, in the capsule, tight quarters once again.
Right.
There's 3 of us like this.
Right. Okay.
And you've got hardly in the room the console here. And we've got to change out of our spacesuits into our Pharrell suits, which are basically sea survival suits. Now, how do you change from your spacesuit? Mind you, the headroom, the hatch is just here.
Right.
You're sitting down, the console's here. And you've got no room to move, which means the only way you can actually remove your spacesuit is to lean over on this side over here, and each person just helps each other. And it'll probably take about, believe it or not, it takes about 45 minutes just to take your spacesuit off.
Wow, per person.
Per person.
Wow. So you're bobbing in the ocean at this point.
You're bobbing in the ocean.
Right.
Mind you, rough conditions.
Right.
Chances are you'll be throwing up. Okay.
Right. That sounds really attractive. Okay.
It's far more colourful now, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess.
So you have to remove your spacesuit and also put on your foul suit. And mind you, your foul suit, you have all these insulating clothing you have to wear.
Right.
And it takes about 2 hours. I mean, our first run, when you do the simulators, we went out to the Crimea, Sevastopol, in the Ukraine, in the Black Sea. And we had to simulate the experience.
Right.
And we had to learn how to take off our spacesuits and put the foul suits on.
Right.
And our first run we did in about 2.5 hours, but the passing grade, you had to do it under 90 minutes.
And so how many times did you get a chance to practice?
Well, we had one dry run on the deck of the ship, but in the capsule. And our second run, they actually placed us into the water.
And that's it. You had to do it.
We had two frogmen just pushing the capsule like this to simulate rough conditions.
So you had a couple of divers shaking you like this.
You're like this, right? You're shaking up and down like this. You have to take up your space, and mind you,
Yeah. So and just to make it interesting, they throw some divers in there and they shake the thing up even more, right?
Absolutely.
So you get through that.
And if it's calm waters, well, they're going to shake it up for you. If it's rough waters, well,
they're going to let it roll on its own, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So you managed to get through sea survival training, and now everybody else is watching video of forest training.
Yeah.
Now, why forest training? If you've got being in a ballistic reentry, it's got to be in the water, right? Because
if we're coming in with a ballistic reentry, it means we're landing off course. Now, if we land in a location where they hadn't planned on, and for some reason we got lost on the road, they can't find us, and we're out in the forest for 3, 4, 5 days, well, we have to learn how to build a shelter.
So what'd you do? It's sounds like SEAL team training or something like that.
There was one machete.
Right.
And 3 pocket knives. And that's all we have. So we have to simulate a ballistic reentry landing in the forest. Okay. So we've got the parachute which was attached to the spacecraft. Right. When we actually landed back on Earth. So we had to go out there in the forest. Well, the most easiest way is to build a teepee. Okay. Cut down some trees.
With the one machete that you have.
With the one machete. Okay. So we've got a parachute. We can actually use the coverings of the parachute and the rope, and we've got pocket knives, so we can actually use this to assist us to build a teepee. And you'll actually see the video too, and some actual photos too. But they had to simulate the entire experience. So if you're in the forest, how do you survive? And there's also one shotgun. Yep.
One shotgun.
Okay. Yep. And about ammunition, there's probably about 10 shells or something.
I was going to say there can't be a whole bunch of ammunition because it's not like there's any room for that.
Yeah.
And so now, how long did you stay out in the forest?
This was like a 2-day experience.
Got it. Amazing 2-day experience. So I got a question for all.
Mind you, you imagine 2 days without the comfort of dialing a pizza or something.
What did you eat?
What's that?
What did you eat?
Well, there are rations on board the spacecraft, so we basically had that. We ate that, but eventually that runs out.
I was thinking if there's like a bear out there or something. Yeah, I guess you do have to get creative.
I can imagine my commander getting really agitated if there was a guy in the background saying, "Halleck, couple jars of pizza." Halleck.
That would probably not work, eh? Not in the middle of the forest.
Survival training. Why are you ordering pizza?
Yeah. So I got a question for all the Thrillionaires out there. Who wants to share with the rest of the Thrillionaires their wildest camping experience? Come on, share with us your wildest camping experience. Pop it on the blog. We want to know what you did that was outrageous. And does it compete with Nick in the forest, survival training, building teepees in Russia?
And every experience is a unique experience.
That's exactly right. We want to hear from you. So knock us down something on the blog. Share with us what you thought about survival training. And guess what? We got another video coming your way. Stay tuned.